Before the Heat were villains and before LeBron became a symbol of unstoppable dominance, there was already tension simmering beneath the surface. The roots of the Miami Heat versus Boston Celtics rivalry didn't begin on the court. They began with a power shift, a changing of the guard. In 2008, the Celtics assembled one of the most formidable trios the league had seen: Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, led by the fiery playmaking of Rajon Rondo. They were battle-tested, physical, and ruthless. They won a championship in their first year together and made it clear that the East belonged to them. They didn't just want to win, they wanted to humiliate you in the process. The Celtics brought back the bully ball of the 90s with a new school twist: trash talk, lockdowns, intensity, and they prided themselves on making superstars look small. That's where LeBron James enters the picture. In 2008 and again in 2010, Boston sent LeBron home. They beat him down mentally and physically. They were the wall he couldn't climb, the veterans who reminded him that talent alone wasn't enough. In 2010, after a brutal 6-game loss to the Celtics in the second round, LeBron left the court without shaking hands, ripping off his jersey as he walked into the tunnel in Cleveland. That wasn't just frustration. It was the moment he knew something had to change. That summer, he joined Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. It was the formation of a super team that shocked the league, but the target on their back grew 10 times bigger. And no one aimed at it harder than Boston. Boston didn't respect the move. They saw it as a shortcut, an escape from the grind they had endured. Garnett said it out loud: "We didn't go ring chasing. We built it." Pierce doubled down, saying LeBron took the easy way out. The Celtics didn't just want to beat Miami, they wanted to humble them. This rivalry became more than basketball. It was about philosophy. It was about pride. Boston believed in paying dues, bleeding for every inch. Miami believed in rewriting the rules. From the moment the 2010-2011 season tipped off, the tension was thick. Media day interviews were laced with subliminals. Every Celtics Heat game was appointment. Television, every foul felt heavier. Every stare down felt longer. Fans didn't just root for teams, they picked sides in a culture war. Old school versus new era, tradition versus transformation. And it wasn't just about the stars, the role players felt it too. Guys like Udonis Haslem and Kendrick Perkins were enforcers in this war. Shane Battier, Mario Chalmers, and Mike Miller had to match the grit of Tony Allen, Glenn Big Baby Davis, and Jeff Green. No one was safe. No one was casual. The seeds of hate were planted the moment LeBron walked into Miami. But those seeds were watered by every quote, every foul, every playoff memory. Boston felt disrespected. Miami felt hunted. And LeBron, he wasn't just trying to win anymore, he was trying to answer, not with his words, but with his legacy. The origin of the smoke between these two teams wasn't just about who was better. It was about who would be remembered. And from 2010 through 2013, that question burned through every single game. This wasn't just a rivalry. It was a collision course between a dying empire and a rising kingdom. When LeBron James made his infamous announcement in the summer of 2010, everything changed. 7 words broadcast across ESPN: "I'm taking my talents to South Beach," ignited a media firestorm and forever altered the way NBA rivalries would be perceived. It wasn't just about where LeBron was going. It was how he left, publicly, boldly, and unapologetically. The basketball world split in half that night. Cleveland burned his jersey. Fans across the country called it cowardly. Legends like Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, and Michael Jordan questioned his competitive fire. But no team took it more personally than the Boston Celtics. To them, the move wasn't just about forming a super team, it was about escaping the fire rather than beating it. LeBron, he absorbed all of it: the booze, the memes, the talking heads, dissecting his every step. And he knew, sooner or later, he'd have to go through Boston to justify the move. When the 2010-2011 season tipped off, the anticipation was electric. The Heat struggled out of the gate, trying to figure out chemistry on the fly. Meanwhile, Boston came in focused. The first regular season game between the two was a statement. The Celtics won, 88-80. Pierce stared down LeBron, Rondo outdueled Wade, and Garnett made every possession personal. They didn't just want to beat Miami, they wanted to make them question the entire foundation of their new empire. By the time the playoffs arrived, the war drums were pounding. In the Eastern Conference semifinals, the Heat and Celtics met for the first time since LeBron's move. The pressure was suffocating. This wasn't just basketball. It was revenge, redemption, and a referendum on the new NBA. In Game 1, Miami came out swinging. LeBron dropped 22, Wade exploded for 38, and the Heat won by 9. It wasn't a blowout, but it felt like a shift, a warning. The Celtics weren't facing the same LeBron they embarrassed in 2010. This version had help, this version had fire, and the Celtics felt it. By the time Miami took a commanding 3-1 series lead, it was clear. The balance of power was shifting. LeBron closed the series in Game 5 with 33 points and a thunderous exclamation, a breakaway dunk followed by a primal scream that echoed through American Airlines Arena. For LeBron, it was vindication. For the Celtics, it was the beginning of the end. But for the rivalry, it was just getting started. If 2011 was the warning shot, 2012 was the full-on war. The Eastern Conference Finals that year didn't just feature two great teams. It showcased two dynasties at opposite points in their timeline. Boston was aging, bruised, and fighting to keep their Big Three alive. Miami was rising, hardened from the pain of losing in the 2011 Finals, and now laser-focused on redemption. The only thing standing between LeBron James and his first championship, the team that had haunted him for years. The series began with Miami jumping out to a 2-0 lead. LeBron was dominant in Game 1, dropping 32 points with ease. In Game 2, he elevated further, scoring 34 points and grabbing 10 rebounds. But Boston wasn't going out like that. Back in TD Garden, the Celtics reminded everyone who they were. In Game 3, Kevin Garnett bullied the paint, Rondo controlled the tempo, and Pierce hit clutch shots late. Celtics won. Game 4, an instant classic. That night, Rondo, Pierce, and Garnett turned back the clock. The Heat forced overtime, but Boston stole the game in the extra period behind a monstrous Garnett performance. Suddenly, the series was tied 2-2. LeBron had played well enough but not well enough to close the door. Critics started. Was this deja vu? Was Boston still in his head? Then came Game 5, a pressure cooker in Miami. The Celtics clawed their way to a gritty 94-90 win. Paul Pierce, in vintage truth form, hit a deep three over LeBron with under a minute to go. He raised his arms and stared into the Miami crowd like a man who'd been there before. And he had. The Celtics left that floor with a 3-2 series lead, one win away from the finals. National media flipped. "Here we go again," they said. Is LeBron built for this? That night, LeBron said very little to the press. No smiles. No jokes. Just a look in his eyes that told the story. Game 6 in Boston became the most defining night of his career. On June 7, 2012, in the heart of enemy territory, LeBron James delivered one of the coldest, most iconic performances in NBA history. 45 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. From the tip, he was in assassin mode. No celebration after shots. No words exchanged. Just dominance. He hit fadeaways over double teams, attacked the rim with fury, and on defense, he clogged passing lanes and battled on the boards. Even Celtics fans fell into stunned silence. It wasn't just the numbers, it was the energy. The Celtics looked like a team staring down a storm they couldn't survive. That night, LeBron didn't silence his critics. He vaporized them. Game 7 in Miami was no less intense. The Celtics led by 7 in the third, but the Heat stormed back. Chris Bosh, playing through injury, nailed 3 huge threes. Wade scored when it mattered. And LeBron? He finished with 31 points and a calm focus that felt unstoppable. Final score, 101-88. The Heat were headed to the finals. The Celtics' run, as we knew it, was over. But even in defeat, Boston went out swinging. Garnett, Pierce, and Rondo left everything on the floor. It was war, respectful, brutal, personal. That 7-game series wasn't just the peak of the Heat-Celtics rivalry. It was one of the most intense playoff series in modern NBA history. Every possession mattered. Every quote echoed. And for LeBron, it was the night he broke free from the ghosts of Boston once and for all.